welcome again to the Amazon ads in 2019. We actually were just going to be like, oh, Amazon PPC workshop / Andrew and Rich want a drink while we do this. But in the past 6 months, so much has come out with Amazon that I feel like has not been touched on well at all from what we've seen. So we kind of took this as our opportunity to chat it up. So that's what we're going to do. So to tell you a little bit about us, you know what? I'll let you start.
All right. Well, hello. My name is Rich. I am currently and forevermore an Amazon PPC specialist here at Seller's Choice. All right. I got my start in content and keyword research, and I really started to get my feet in the water, helping manage Amazon PPC advertising campaigns for smaller clients. And as I move more towards bigger clients, I worked with constructing, massive accounts with over 30 or 40,000 SKUs and individual products in them. So I'm pretty well versed in this, and I see what works, what sticks and what doesn't. So I look forward to sharing this with you guys and, just building value where I can.
Wow. Andrew Maff, I have been in digital marketing for, I think, about 12, 13 years now, in and out of e-commerce a lot of the time, but have spent probably the past 6, 7 years in e-commerce in Amazon specifically, obviously being one of them. I'm the director of digital marketing here at Seller's Choice, and Rich and I work together, and we decided, you know what, it's time for us to do our own webinar on Amazon PPC. So we did that poll. All right. So here's the, let me give you the basic webinar stuff that I'm required to do. Of course, we have a Q&A at the end, just like everyone else always has, but I don't really like doing Q&As at the end. I'd rather tell you guys, like, hey, we had a great time, good job. Usually after about an hour, maybe 45 minutes, you're kind of tired of listening to us anyway. So feel free to send us questions throughout this entire thing. I'm going to check the questions on the board. I will try to approach them as we go through each individual topic. And then, of course, for everyone who sticks around, we have some free stuff at the end. Standard, like we got an ebook that I suggest you download. It's not gated, just download it and use it and read it. But then we have a ton of other stuff we're giving away, especially we're doing some audits. So Rich will completely audit your account for you. And we're just going to give one of those away. And I got a bunch of other stuff too we're going to talk about. So just to give you guys a little high level of what it is we're talking about today. So of course, we're going to go through our keyword funnel strategy as we start to go through this webinar or workshop. I hate the word webinar. I don't know why. But you'll also learn that I hate the word funnel. So I'm going to call it a funnel. If you can think of another word besides funnel, I will call it, the Pam from England strategy. As long as I can stop calling it a funnel, that would be great. We got someone from Australia now.
We should call it the webinar funnel.
There are no penguins from Antarctica here, Brad, but thank you. Of course, a very common question is reducing your ACoS. We've actually found here reducing your ACoS is kind of the easy part. It's scaling that's usually the difficult side of it. Of course, you have competitors who are probably kicking your ass, so we're going to show you how we can kind of block and tackle there. Scaling your PPC campaigns, or you really just wanted to have a drink and you have no idea what we're talking about, and that's fine too.
That's cool.
Why not?
Hello.
You do you. All right. So click. All right. Currently advertising on Amazon. So this is where I was going to launch that poll, but I did it already. So yeah. So we're going to touch on the basics. No one wants to touch on the basics. I get that. I'm going to make this super quick. We'll go really high level. So another thing you guys will learn, Steelers fans. So I use them as an example every time. So real quick, real basic. Sponsored brands used to be called headline ads. If you search something on Amazon, it's usually that top little bar up at the top. You can see it there. And then your sponsored products are usually the first couple right below that headline ad / sponsored brand ad. And then, of course, they're also throughout the search. I believe it's like every 10 or 15 products. There's 2 more or 4 more sometimes. And then, of course, there are the ones that show up technically as an auto campaign, which I'll get into on the listing itself. And then you have the product targeting ads, which is something new that came out about 6 months ago, where it finally got released.
Yeah, that was around December. No.
I think it was earlier.
Yeah, like October.
Yeah.
October around, yeah.
So those are on the listing itself. If you have questions about where the ads actually are, just shoot me an email or something. We'll get into it.
Remind me to get back to the product targeting, because that's new. So it has a lot of potential for growth and a lot of potential for returns, but also a lot of potential to put you in the hole. You gotta be careful about it. I've seen a lot of dudes waste a lot of money trying to sell their thing up against something they should not have been selling against. Man. Let's get into that.
We'll get in. So, all right, I agree. We should touch on that because that is brand new. So this one, these are your keyword and pretty much your keywords or your campaign types, right? So you have the automatic campaign. Basically, you just say, hey, Amazon, here's my product. Go advertise it. Cool. They do that. Manual, sponsored product. So that is the giving it a keyword. Hey, Amazon, here's my product. Also show it for this keyword. That's basically what that is. And then the sponsored products, sponsored brands. So that's your headline ads. You should be called headline ads. That's basically, hey, Amazon, here's my storefront, or here is several products, and here's some keywords. Please advertise that. And then the newer one, relatively new. It's about 6 months, but I still call it new. The product targeting, where you basically say, hey, here's my product. Show it on that product. Is basically how those work. So high-level stuff. Exact phrase, broad, those are your keywords. You have the exact match, which basically means, hey, show for this keyword, that's it, like Big Ben. And then you have your phrase, like, hey, show for this keyword, as well as some stuff on either side of it. And then, hey, show for this keyword, or if people shove stuff in the middle of it. That's how those work, right? So let's do a quick poll, just because I know we got about 30% of you. Do you want me to touch on the basics more? So tell me yes or no. I'll make this one quick.
Easily touch on the basics.
We can go back to the basics. I can make them real quick, or I can touch on them longer. Sitting at a hard 90% no right now. So I don't know. I don't want to say majority wins, but it depends on what the majority is.
And if it's 90%, it might win.
Yeah,
that's a passing grade.
I'll give it. You got 10 seconds, and then I'm getting out of this. 5, 4, 3, 2. All right. 87% of you don't want me to touch on the basics more. 13% of you do. So for those 13%, as I start to go through these, please just shoot us a question, and I'll touch on them as we get through this, just because there's a lot, and I have a feeling that the more we drink, the more we're going to rant. So we're going to make this. Rich is a ranter. So, all right, structuring campaigns. This is like right off the bat, where we're immediately going to get someone who messages us and says, you structured them wrong, and blah, 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 great, then you go do it. So here's how we do these. So you have an auto campaign, right?
Boom.
So your auto campaign is basically, usually category, right? Yeah. I guess you can call it a category.
Okay. How do I conceptualize this? Your automatic campaign
is delicious, by the way.
It is. It is quite the drink. I didn't want to say it to our viewership, but go out and buy. What is this?
Rebellious.
Rebellious for the bold at heart. Oh my God, what a drink! Our auto campaigns serve as a foundation by which we can build the rest of your advertising strategy. Our auto campaigns basically allow us to gauge the public, gauge the masses, and see what they're looking for in order to get to what you're selling. You know what I'm saying? That's how we bridge the gap between what they want and what you have.
Already got a question. I find it hard to analyze the search term reports and other PPC reports in a structured, efficient, and consequent way. Could you share how you do this, or do you have a good tutorial for it? Ha! I got both of those, so we'll touch on that.
Oh,
so,
yes,
all right. Ooh. All right, so you got your category is your auto campaign. All right, let's dive into this a little bit quicker. So then you get into deeper categories. The reason is basically your ad groups you can break down as a little bit more product specific. Your sponsored product, regular manual campaigns. So we do 2 for each. So you'll see here we have the, and I realize I'm like doing this. I have the thing in front of me, so it looks like I'm just doing it in the air. Just imagine it's here, right there,
and then reverse. It's like a mirror, also.
Exactly. So all right. So you have your category, and then you have 2 basically subcategories for your auto campaigns. For sponsored product, you have a similar approach, except you have 2 for each individual category as opposed to just 1 for each subcategory. So in this case, I have Big Ben. If you had a home versus an away jersey, maybe those keywords are going to be different. I might search Ben Roethlisberger home black jersey versus Ben Roethlisberger away white jersey. Or And then you have your product targeting campaigns set up similar to the sponsored brand campaigns. And then, of course, similar to the auto campaigns. And then your sponsored brand campaigns are set up just with one category because you don't have ad groups, you don't have anything like that. So that's what it is. Any questions? So before the launch, I should make an automatic campaign to see what's converting. Yes.
Yes, please.
Start with an auto campaign.
Please do that.
Do it right. We'll wait. Go do it.
Is it done? That's what you get. All right, cool.
All right. What do we got next? All right, so how often do you optimize? I thought this was a poll I made. Yep, I do. Great. So this is a common question. We get this all the time. Like, how often do you optimize? Should I optimize daily, hourly? Should I optimize and then go do it again immediately? Should I wait 6 months? Like, there's always 500 different ways that people say that you should do it. We have a theory, and we know it's right.
So it's a fact. So follow us to the T, or else. Not or else, but seriously, just follow us. Think about it. Well, we want to talk about the 7-day attribution of a 2-day delay?
We can.
Because that does, okay.
Yeah.
How often should you optimize? You should, okay.
Hold on. Let's let the poll finish. We're at, all right, so 40% of you say weekly. It's still changing. I'm giving you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right, 38% of you say to do it weekly. 21% of you say to do it daily. 18% say monthly. And 24% of you say every now and then. So I'll let you touch on.
Okay.
Go ahead. I know you want this.
When I'm optimizing my clients, I want to always remember that Amazon takes 2 full days to finalize your data. And even after that 2 full days, it takes 7 days before to attribute a sale. What does that mean? So I click on, you're selling shirts. You're selling shirts that I like. I click on the shirt. I go on the listing. It generates a click and a spend. Now, even if I go back to that listing, if I go back to that product 6 days later and purchase it or put it in my cart, it gets attributed to that day, okay? So your ACoS numbers are never going to be right until maybe 7 or 9 days after. But you can measure your clicks and your ad spend every single day at the end of the day. If you're very cautious, if you have something you have slim margins on, if you have something that's timely, like we're selling shirts for a seasonal seller, and in about 2 or 3 weeks, that window is going to be gone. I'm checking that every single day to see what the clicks and spend are, because I know what they look like when it's good. So if it matches, I want to optimize preemptively. If it's less, what's the word? I'm like, what's the word? If it's not like relying on time, then I would say go weekly. But remember, it takes 2 days for them to finalize your ACoS numbers, and then another 7 days for them to attribute the sale, even if someone looked at your thing last week. So keep that in mind.
Beautiful.
Cool.
We had a question. Do you have a campaign structure with a single campaign per match type per ASIN? So we sort of kind of do, which I'll touch on a little bit deeper as we get further into this. Give me a minute. We'll get to it. So hey, isn't 14 days attribution window? So it is a 7-day attribution window for sponsored products. It's a 14-day attribution window for sponsored brands. So if you have, because basically they're giving you more leeway because you're building out your brand on Amazon is what Jeff wants you to think. So it depends on which ones you're running, but it's 7-day for sponsored products, 14 for sponsored brands. So the correct answer, how often should you do it? We say weekly. So why weekly? You should do it daily. Let me give you an example. I sell, doesn't even really matter. So I sell t-shirts, and I obviously do better on the weekends because people are kind of hanging out and they're window shopping a little bit longer, so they do better on a Saturday. So let's say now my ads are doing better on Saturday. My logic is going to be, great, let me increase bids because my ACoS is looking good, my target's looking good. Sunday, next day comes around, people saw some free time, hey, still not too bad, I'm going to let this kind of ride, I'm going to keep my bids high, and then Monday rolls around, people are working, they're not shopping, and all of a sudden everything tanks. You're not taking into account how people shop during the week. You're also not taking into account really high volume days. So we all celebrate when Prime Day rolls around. If you really actually adjusted your bidding based on that day alone, you would bleed out over the next month. So we always say to give it a week so that you can get a full shopping week's worth of data, and then also wait 2 days after that week. So to give you an example, we try to do most of the people we work with on Tuesdays, and we look at Monday through Sunday. And the reason is that there's that 48-hour lag time of data, and then there's also like, I want to give a little bit more time to let that click attribution try and work itself out. It's not perfect data, but it's pretty close. But if you have products like t-shirts or apparel or things that people are kind of sitting on about, like, oh, I don't know if I need this or not, then you might want to take that attribution into a little bit more of a thought process. Another question, how do you manage your bids? Do you have any tool recommendations? Rich is a tool.
Big tool over here.
We'll touch on that. Oh, we're getting into bidding now. Perfect.
The sharpest in the shade.
So, all right, so here's your bidding stuff. So how to decrease, how to increase. So I don't want to sit on this for too long because there's a lot here, and I hate slides with a lot of words. So I'm going to send out the slides after this webinar, so everyone will have it, so feel free to use it. This is how we typically decrease bids with the exclusion of the actual numbers that you see here. So the 5 to 15 or the reduced by 15, that's going to change based on your goals, based on the product line, based on some people.
Return, you know what I mean?
Some people, you may have like a $200, $300, $400 product and spend $1 per click. In which case, if you are 5 to 15% above your target ACoS, that may be way too high. So this is really just this is a placeholder, but to give you an idea of how we look at this. So we want to reduce bids significantly more if they're significantly higher above our target. Now, you could also change this where it's not ACoS, maybe it's sales, or maybe it's cost, or however you want to do that. So it's really going to be dependent, but this is kind of how we start with our basics. So on a keyword increasing side, same concept, right? Now, you can see here, we do a slightly less dramatic increase. And the reason is, if we're losing money, I want to make a change. I want to make it now. But if I'm making money and I have a winning bid, I want to be slow. I want to be careful, because the last thing I want to do is get really excited and then just do it way too fast. Like, no one wants to go too fast. So you definitely want to make sure that you're just slowly increasing those bids. But if you're seeing your other bids being too high, you want to decrease them.
There's a euphemism here that we could use.
Yeah, there is.
We're not
going to use it. I almost had it, and then I decided not to do it.
And you guys know, but we won't say it.
Quick question, can you explain what you mean by attribution? So an attribution is essentially when that sale was attributed. So basically, if I click on, sponsored products are a 7-day click attribution. If I click on Monday, but don't actually purchase the product until Friday, the sale will count for Monday, but that click will show immediately. I hope that helps. That's kind of the best way I can explain that. I got another one. Aren't dynamic bidding up and down linking with placement bidding? Yes, dynamic bidding up and down that's on auto campaigns, which we'll touch on.
Yes.
Only seeing the poll side, not the slides you're talking about. We can't see the screen, still the poll. Well, that's not cool. Still stuck on the first poll. Well, WTF, man. Let's see, what are you sharing right now? All right, still can't see a slideshow, makes sense. What if it is after 7 days? Would it not be attributed? No, it would not be attributed if it's after 7 days. I think I fixed it. Can someone comment? Let me know if you can see the slides now. It's the office. Increasing bids. Good now, yes, good, yeah, it's fixed, good on the slide, yes, I can see it, yep, great, whoa, everyone's excited, awesome. I got one more poll, and I hope that I don't break it again. So, search term report. I know we had a question about this earlier. So, search term report and successful keywords. Guess what? Successful, you define that. Everyone always says, like, I want to aim for what, like, below, usually below 20% is usually common.
Oh, for as far as ACoS though?
Yeah, everyone likes my target's like below 20% ACoS, but every company, every category, every product is different. You set your own goals, go off. We like to go off what your margin is, but sometimes if you're looking for an investor and you just want revenue and you're not that worried about cost, which is weird but still possible, then have that. So always download that search term report, and you want to add all the successful keywords. So you also want to click and you want to negate some of those unsuccessful keywords that are bleeding, right?
Yes. I was just pantomiming bleeding in case you guys are not familiar. But yes, you do want to get rid of those bleeding keywords, because I'll tell you what, the last thing you want is an auto campaign with too high of a bid and hidden bleeding keywords. These bleeding keywords you can only get from your search term report. So until you put the effort in to go and find them, they're invisible to you. It's like a fucking hole in your side, and you don't know it's there. And you're like, oh, why am I tired? Because you're losing a liter of blood every hour.
So when we get into the spreadsheet too, we'll show you how you can find those, like the ones that have been bleeding for a while, but you don't really know about it. I'll bet you by the end of this webinar, you're able to find like, oh man, I found like 5 keywords that were totally blown like $100 over the past
plug up
year.
That wound.
We're gonna plug that wound.
Plug that wound.
All right. So who does this? I feel like I skipped one. I did skip one. Boom. This is our what I like to call the Pam from England strategy. If you were here earlier, you get that reference. So I hate the word funnel. Is what it is. So this is I got a couple questions. Let me touch on these real quick. Should I put in negative keywords, the one that aren't converting on the right campaign? I think this funnel will actually answer that. And do you put bleeding ones on negative, or do you just adjust them to minimal bid? You usually want to put them on negative, or you can pause them, or you can adjust the bid. It's going to be a little bit dependent on what you see there.
And it depends on what campaign you're in. If you're in the auto campaign, you have to. There's no keyword bid, so you're going to have to add it as a negative. If it's sponsor brand or sponsor product, then you're going to want to lower the bid, or no, you can't negate it in a sponsor brand, right?
Sponsor brand, you have negative keywords.
Yeah, there's no. So yeah, no. So it depends on what kind of campaign you're dealing with.
So this glorious funnel. I think our design team is watching this. If they are, thank you for creating this. Specifically, Zach Page made this beautiful infographic-y thing for us. Again, I'm going to send you guys the slides to this. But so this is like our brainchild of a funnel strategy. So at the top here, off to the left, you have your upside down triangle. It's not a funnel, and you're going to take. So you basically have your auto campaigns running, right? You're running the auto campaigns, you pull your search term report, and you find like, hey, all these keywords are working really well, and this is what people are searching. So I'm going to add them into what we call the research campaign. So this is a mix of broad.
Is that euphemism?
Happy hour. This is a mix of broad and phrase. Someone earlier asked about having different search term variants into different campaigns or different ad groups. I'm not a fan because we have a spreadsheet strategy that we're going to go through in a couple minutes here that kind of confuses that, and it just doesn't seem to work for me. And plus, like broad and phrase, I tend to get the same results from in terms of like average cost per click and all that. So we just put them into one campaign, and either way, if you sort it in a spreadsheet, it doesn't really matter anyway. But anyway, so it goes from the auto campaign, it's successful. Then we take it, we put it in the research campaign. Now I have a broadened phrase, which means like I know that this is doing really well, but I'm gonna let it keep going and kind of see what happens. So now, yeah, you're still tinkering with it. You're still trying to see like maybe there's more to it. Maybe there's other keywords in there that can make it do better. Then after a while, usually about a month or so, you can kind of see like, all right, now this specific exact keyword's doing great. So I'm going to move that keyword and I'm going to create it into what we have as another manual campaign, which we call the success campaign. So these are exact match only. So yeah, success. So they're exact match. I'm jacking those bids up so that none of my competitors can get in the way, and I'm putting those bids as high as I can. Now, the issue is if you just did that side of things, you would still have that keyword and all the others. So what you want to do is you want to take that successful exact match keyword and you want to negate it in the research campaign, and that exact match as a negative exact, you want to negate it in the auto campaign. So the only place you're bidding on this keyword that's possible for you to bid on is in that success campaign. So you can bid an arm and a leg for that. In the research, you want to do the same thing. You don't have a negative broad, but you can do a negative phrase match keyword and you can negate it in the auto. So the auto campaign is spending all of its money, all of its bidding on nothing but new stuff. The research campaign is spending all of its money and all of its bidding on nothing but relevant stuff that you know kind of already works. And the exact match campaign is doing nothing but spending all of its money and all of its bidding on only things that work. Wow. That is your sponsored products manual targeting Pam from England strategy.
You know what I just realized?
What?
You can't spell funnel without fun.
All right, so this is where Rich leaves.
Don't fire. Wait, hold on. Don't leave. I've been waiting like 17 minutes to get that one off. So, come on. All right, but next.
So you'll see at the top here, so we have the product targeting, right? So product targeting, for a long time, we didn't have this as an option. And what would happen is you would download a search term report, and you'd see all these search terms that are ASINs. And you would basically be like, oh, where did I get these ASINs from? I can't bid on them. I can't do this. That was the auto campaign showing the product on the listing. But now what you can do is you can actually take that information and go bid on that product specifically in the product targeting. So you can actually do a very similar Pam from England strategy here. I hope Pam's still watching too. So that way you can actually have this same process. And then for the sponsored brands, what I like to do is take the phrase match and the exact match successful keywords that I have found and run just those. The reason is that in sponsored brands, you can't negate anything. You don't have negative keywords as an option. So you want to be careful and make sure you're only bidding on things that you know are going to work. But I didn't want to leave it up to just the exact. So we played it a little bit safer and still put phrase in there. All right, we got a ton of questions. If you negate the word in auto and phrase, why are you not potentially giving up a word to someone else? Because if I'm negating it in auto and phrase,
like if you're negating it here and here.
Yeah. So if I'm negating it in auto and the research, which is what I think you mean by the phrase, I'm bidding very heavily on it in success.
Yes.
So I'm still bidding on it. In fact, chances are no one else is really going to be able to touch that keyword anyway.
You're basically recruiting keywords from your auto campaign and upgrading it every time and closing the door behind it so you don't waste money cannibalizing your own keyword bids. Because if you have it in success and research at the same bid, you're going to confuse Amazon. It doesn't know what to show for. So now it's just going to show the next man. So you missed out on that completely. You have to keep negating it in your higher levels to avoid from cannibalizing your own sales.
When you add a keyword as -VE, do you do it as an exact or phrase -VE match? I don't know what you're talking about. Can you re-ask that? I'm not sure what you mean by -VE. But you can't add negatives to auto campaigns in AMS. You're right, you can't. Go to Seller Central. You're obviously, like, I think it was last month, you probably had a bit of a scare anyway, so you might want to start getting into Seller Central.
The tools on Seller Central are there. I'm still operating in both. Go to Seller Central.
Yeah, go to
They give you more, and you're worth it.
Should a keyword belong to one campaign only? What if I have a range of blue shirts in different campaigns? So if you have a bunch of products that are similar in different campaigns,
it depends on what it comes down to. Also, I feel like is how different are they? Because if I want them advertised alongside one another because they're so similar based on what the user is looking for, then I would put them in the same campaign. But I don't even know if I'm answering your question. Can you?
So we have a client who sells multiple different types of coffee, right? And basically she's saying, what if I'm bidding coffee and it's successful in several of those campaigns? Should I negate it and get rid of stuff? To be honest, that's a tough question. I would really say that you're going to want to just watch your bidding on it and try not to cannibalize across the board. If anything, because what's going to happen is, so the way Amazon's algorithm works is that if I searched blue shirts, and Rich searched them, we'll probably get different results because you almost have your own personal algorithm. So you don't want to worry too much and get too crazy with overbidding or underbidding certain keywords because he may see one of your blue shirts and I may see another depending on what that bidding is. I think that kind of answered your question, but to be honest, that's one that you kind of have to do on a case by case. The ASINs targeting works really well for me. It's Pam. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Pam. Thank you for the strategy,
how often do you rerun the search list and what time frame window? 1 month. We usually do it once a month. In some cases, you can do it more often.
Depends on the volume of the searches. If you're getting more clicks, more volume, for example, it's March Madness here. I don't know if you guys are from all over the world. You're a lot more cultured than I am. I took the train here. So maybe, if we're selling something that's high volume, that's sports related, right around the championship, and we're getting a lot of clicks and a lot of data, then we can go into that search term report more often because there's more data to mine from. the less volume, the more you're going to want to space out to get as much data as you can to make as good of a decision as you can. That makes sense?
Yeah. So Josh asked about the portfolios, and that's totally my fault. I forgot to mention that part. In the structuring, where'd it go? There. So if you didn't notice right here at the top, this whole thing is a portfolio. So basically, I love the portfolios because it really lets me see like this whole category, how is it actually doing it? It makes reporting a lot easier. So basically, I suggest taking like all of the specific to a certain category and putting it into a portfolio. Let's go back to that one. Do you need to negate ASINs in auto after you put it in product targeting? No, I don't believe you can actually negate ASINs because the sponsored product campaigns still don't technically register that. When you add a keyword, as negative, do you add it as an exact or phrase match negative? So if it's in the success campaign, it's an exact keyword, so I want to negate it in research and in auto as a negative exact. If it's in the research campaign, I want to negate it in just auto as a negative phrase. So you're basically, like you said, like I like that analogy of like closing the door behind you.
Yeah, close the door behind you. There's nothing back there. There's none of a wasted ad spend.
Yes. So who does this work for? This is my favorite question. This honestly works for everyone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Nah, it doesn't.
It doesn't, sorry.
Tricky slide. We're going to explain why this doesn't work for everyone, right? So reasons your campaigns suck. This is one of my favorite slides. So give you an example. We have a couple people we work with, some where their products are constantly being searched and they're easy purchases and it's just someone who needs it, like vacuum filters or like something like a replaceable, like, this thing broke in my house. I need it. Great. I got it. I found it. It's cheap. I'm doing it. But then you have men's hair dye, which is who I was going to use.
Actually,
but
Chip Chandlery is.
Then you have, yeah, we can use that one. Then you have branded products. So then you have branded products where you have people, happy hour. Then you have people where basically you're spending your money off Amazon or in other cases where you're trying to build your brand. So essentially, you're no longer fighting for those keywords. I'm not fighting for blue shirts. I'm fighting for my brand name plus blue shirts, which is easy because people are searching my brand name. So product targeting actually works better if you're trying to build a brand than the sponsored brands and the sponsored products. And the reason is you can take that product and you can force it onto your competitors' pages. Now, the trick here, which Rich figured out finally a few months ago what the trick is, it's not to go after the big guys. Don't worry about going after the big guys. So if you're selling T-shirts was the most recent example I had, you don't want to go to like, I don't know, Kohl's, Hanes. You don't want to go after Hanes. You want to go after some random brand that no one's ever heard of because they're already uncomfortable with their purchase. They don't know who the brand is. So if you have a better price or if you have a better product and you can sell it better, then you're better off with the product targeting.
Right? When you're wingman and when you're going to hit the bar with your wingman, you're not going to bring the 6'5" point guard with offers to Duke. You're not going to talk to anybody. They'll ask you for his business card, okay? You get someone else. Get someone maybe your height or smaller.
Sponsored brands works well with really large product lines. So to give you guys an example, we work with someone who has a massive, like thousands and thousands of shirts, and they sell collegiate apparel. So what we do is we target specific colleges and specific apparel and drive them to the storefront and give them tons of options. And the reason that'll help is because the consumer almost thinks that, we're all guilty of being on Amazon all the time to the point where we know it inside and out. So we know the tricks that everyone's pulling, but the average consumer doesn't know that. So when our consumers land on this person's page, it's basically like, oh, here's all of our hats for Penn State. The consumer almost thinks like these are all of the hats that Amazon has for Penn State. So they almost always can purchase. In Q4, I mean, his average order value was like $24, but that sponsored brand campaigns were down to like an 8% ACoS or something ridiculous. And for apparel, that's awesome. And for an incredibly inexpensive product too. And then the sponsored products suck for people who are window shopping. So T-shirts, a very, very hard thing to do with sponsored products because it's apparel. Maybe I like it, maybe I don't, or it's food. It's subjective, so you don't really know if someone's gonna, or is it objective? I always forget which one. Subjective.
It's like kind of liquid and like we don't.
Yeah, like we don't know. Subjective. It's subjective. So you kind of want to like keep that in mind on like what it is you're selling. So this works for some people, but you have to know how to manipulate it based on your product, your category, and your company, because you're going to have different situations.
First and foremost, know yourself, know your brand, know what you're selling. Then step into the Amazon world and, get your money.
ASIN targeting is just for brand registered. So is product targeting just for brand registered people? No. No. Everyone can do it. Sponsored brands are the old headline ads. You have to have your brand registered.
Yeah, product targeting you can do that.
Which, by the way, if you have a sponsored brand, we almost always suggest to run it to a storefront and not to one of those like fake created landing pages. I hate those things.
You gotta rely on you.
Build your brand out.
Like me to make those.
If you're bidding way above the suggested bid range for a keyword, but you're getting no impressions, what's happening? So Amazon will look at the keyword you're using as well as the keywords on your listing, and it will make sure that it's relevant before it even starts to show. So there's a possibility there that what you have happening is the keyword is completely irrelevant, or I would check the product and make sure it's eligible or you're in the buy box or anything like that.
Yeah. No impressions mean it's not showing up.
Yeah. So more reasons your campaign sucks. So listing optimization, enhanced brand content, stereotypical answer. So many. This was something that we learned the hard way, where way too many people don't realize like you, and then expect PPC to work like oh my God, it's great. Like great, you have one and you have like a paragraph or a bullet point. It's not going to happen.
One paragraph.
What is that?
Come on, man.
Always want to make sure your listing is as optimized as possible, and you want to cater towards conversions. I'm not going to get into listing optimization. It's a whole other webinar, but one of the ebooks we're giving away later is a listing optimization ebook. You can take it, have it. Hope everyone can still hear us. I just got a thing that said you know what? Because I'm on my, we're good. When you say clicks, are you referring to click-through conversion rate or just people clicking your ad? Usually I'm talking about just clicks. I'm sorry, not click-through conversion rate. I'm talking about people clicking your ad. But you do want to keep an eye on your conversion rate. So Amazon's algorithm really caters more towards the conversion rate, because really all that's going to happen is Amazon wants to make sure that you're providing a good experience to their consumers. And if you're driving a ton of traffic to it and people are buying, you're giving them a great experience, they're going to move you up the algorithm. It's a lot more simple than make it out to be. Of course, as I go back into reasons why your campaign sucks, is because competition, it happens, but you can always flip and find ways to compete. Then bad reviews, you'd be shocked at how bad reviews can immediately just tank you. Although I'm sure as a lot of e-commerce Amazon sellers are here, maybe you won't be shocked. If you're doing a sponsored brand ad, you have one of those garbage product listing pages, or your storefront looks awful, that can always be an issue. Or your keywords are way too broad. I would like to hope that, I forgot who it was that asked earlier, but I hope you're not bidding on blue shirts. That's really broad. Like coffee, way too broad. You want to have longer like keywords that you're going after. If you're in a category that's wildly competitive, like coffee or shirts, you're probably better off doing product targeting ads. Yeah. And then lack of keywords. I've found a lot of people who have like, I have 4 keywords in my campaign. Why aren't they working? Be like, because you only have 4.
Put as many as you want in there.
Yeah.
If people don't click, it's not going to cost you any money.
Yeah. Just bid accordingly.
This is a closed door for you with maybe money behind it. And if it doesn't open, it doesn't cost you anything. Put as many as you can in there. And I don't want to give away too much of the secret sauce, but there are plenty of keyword research tools that you can use that we have here at Seller's Choice that you can leverage for success. So let's see. I'm interested. I got one last poll. Hopefully this doesn't break everything. So I'm interested if you guys if some people even know, I know some people may not know this. We usually pull this in our reporting to kind of give us an example of what's working, if the brand is working, and all, et cetera. But let us know where most of your PPC revenue is coming from, whether it's sponsored products per keyword, product, or the sponsored brands, or if you just don't know. It's very possible you don't know. That's very common that we found. I know we have pretty much a mix. I know we got a few that are now product targeting are actually doing better than everything else. We got a bunch for sponsored brands, and obviously sponsored products is a pretty common one depending on what it is. Yeah, so sponsored products
Sponsored brands at 4%, which is very interesting. That's interesting to me. But the sponsored products product targeting at 4% also doesn't shock me either. If you haven't seen this, it's on your screen. Fill it out. I know some of you may still be working. Come over. I'm intrigued. 81% at keyword targeting right now. All right, I'm closing this. All right, so 81% at keyword targeting, 4% at product targeting, 4% at sponsored brands, 12% don't know. 12%, I'm not surprised. Actually, that's lower than I thought. 4% at sponsored brands is really interesting.
Yeah, that is.
I can't believe that's
top of the page traffic.
Yeah, that's top of the page. If you have multiple products that are similar, you should absolutely be doing that.
So, okay, for those who said that was their least converting, it's kind of broad. Because what I'm thinking is, look, if you're a sponsored brand, you know that this is what the people want. It's an exact and phrase match that you're linking to that.
Yeah.
So
if it's what the people want, like it's, I need this, I need to buy it, I already know what the solution to my problem is, sponsored products works great.
Usually your top sellers.
Exactly. But if you're hunting around and you're not really sure, product targeting is even better, because you may end, like the consumer may end up on a product page of something that's like, I don't really know if I want this, but yours is right there and it's got a nice little picture and the price is in the same area or maybe it's less. So
and it just looks official. Like if you own the top of the page, the column, and the little boxes next to it, you're official. You might as well be the Amazon. Like you own the whole page. It's yours.
So I love these. What is this? I didn't answer the last poll because we don't have a brand. Yes. Okay. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. Not everyone. Oh man, Scott for the win. I forgot about that. So maybe not everyone has a brand register. You may not have a brand. Perhaps the results are skewed because only a low percentage of people can actually use sponsored brands. All right. So in our next quarter, we're going to redo this, and I'm having Scott join us. That's a good point. I forgot about that.
Scott,
so if you don't have your brand registered, you can't run sponsored brands. Scott, cheers. Good. This one's for you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Totally forgot about that. So yeah, it makes a lot more sense. So obviously, if you're a reseller or if you don't have your own brand or you don't have your brand registered, you didn't do sponsored brands. So I guess it makes more sense. My response to that would be get your own brand. All right. So how do we do it, right? It's a secret.
Ooh.
Sorry, I'm not going to tell you.
It's a secret sauce.
Yeah, why else would I do this? I'm not going to tell you how we do it.
It's how I pay the bridge toll. I'm not going to.
I'm kidding.
You were kidding.
Yeah, I was kidding.
Okay, kind of.
Well, kind of. I love these sluts. So this is as deep as I'm going to get into this because I do have to hold on to some of our secret sauce. But to be honest, if you know how to use Excel or in our case, Google Sheets, you'll figure it out. So this is kind of how we do this. So earlier we got a question about the search term report. So the easiest way to figure out what's working and what's not is when we touched on what you do to increase bids, what you do to decrease bids, you're putting your own parameters into place. So what you can do is at the top of that search term report, click on the top of it to highlight all the titles, filter it, and then set your filters so that you can just see, these are all my successful products or successful keywords. Copy, paste them, throw them into Seller Central, and you're good to go. Problem solved. Or, our favorite way, download the bulk report, manipulate it that way, adjust bids that way, pull the search term report, manipulate it, figure out what works, throw it into the bulk report, upload it, and you're done. Problem solved. In some cases, you can optimize campaigns of thousands of products in 30 minutes, maybe tops.
If you get this down to a science, and come to us, let us give you the game, please, because this whole auditing process is also determined by how well you organize your campaigns in Seller Central. Okay, the better organized it is there, the better organized it is here. Therefore, it's easier to deal with when you want to filter it out by campaign, when to filter out by product type or portfolio. You can, basically, the better you organize it, the easier it is to jump in and see where your problems are and deal with them quick.
So the other thing that the screenshot that you're seeing here is actually, we always do our own internal monthly audit. And the reason we want to do that is for those bleeding keywords that we talked about earlier. I feel like we just did like a sitcom and like stuff is starting to it's starting to come full circle and we're all starting to get it now. So, so basically what's happening is, let's say and everyone's had this, you have a keyword that has 3 or 4 clicks. You're looking at the previous week, right? It's got 3 or 4 clicks. You've spent some money, but it's got no sales. So Logic tells you, like, that's not enough clicks. I'm going to raise this bid. So the next week, now you're at 5 or 6 clicks. You're like, that's close, but it's still not enough sales. It's still not enough traction. There's no sales. Let me raise the bid again. Now you're in a different threshold, and all of a sudden you have 20, 30 clicks. You've spent an arm and a leg. Logic tells you, that's too much. Now let me lower it again. What no one realizes is I just went 3 weeks fighting with a keyword that never had any sales. So you could go potentially months doing this. So what we do is we pull that bulk report and drop it into our own Excel sheet, and we look at how each individual keyword has done week over week, as well as month over month or quarter over quarter, and I can see, over the past month, I've done nothing but fight with this keyword, and I spent $200 and didn't get a single sale. So all of a sudden, I'm looking at it from a higher level, and I get to go, that's too much bleeding, and we just pause it. Sometimes we'll negate it. It's going to be a little bit dependent on what we're seeing, but that is basically how it's relatively easy to get within your target ACoS. The tricky part is being able to scale and find those new keywords, which hopefully the funnel strategy should help with that. But this is basically how we've been doing it. So download the search term report, use the bulk file thing, and then put it all into your own spreadsheet so you can see how everything's been doing over time. If you don't have the ability or know how to do Excel or Google Sheets well enough, I love FreeUp. Go get a VA. It's so easy. Like they'll do it. Be like, hey, make me a cool pivot table thing, and they'll do it for you.
Just to drive home the power of the bulk upload.
How much do you charge for making my PPC campaign during and before a launch? I think this was $35. So how about one of these? I actually don't know how much that was. This is delicious stuff. Gene, shoot me an email. What does Seller's Choice charge to manage a sponsored products campaign? It's so funny. Every time, so we've done this one before, and we're going to offer something here in a minute too, by the way, and buckle up with us because last time we did this, I got yelled at for doing it. But it was fun, so I get bored, and that's what we do. But every time I show this spreadsheet, everyone wants to go like, how much do you charge, like, just to do this for us? And like, obviously, like, that's why we exist. That's why we do these webinars. Not ready yet. So we'll get into this. But obviously, we'd be more than happy to help you. We're one of the very few companies, I believe, that doesn't charge based on a percentage. So I really don't care how much you're spending. I don't care how much you're making. Mainly, I do because that's what we're targeting, but I don't want to benefit from either because I feel that kind of gives the wrong incentive. I'm either being encouraged to spend all of your money, or I'm being encouraged to still spend all of your money.
Yeah,
so
I don't want to
do that.
We kind of have and this is kind of philosophically as a company, I feel like when we have this flat rate, we come in and we try to do our best to maximize that client. I don't want to know that you're doing $10 million a year and then ask for, more on the back end for myself. I want to come in and I want to give 100% of my effort across the board. So
yeah, and if you're like, I forgot, I heard one the other day, it was like, 10% of ad spend. Like, great, so you'll never hit your target ACoS if you filter that in. So we do ours based on like the size of the campaign, just because although these spreadsheets are easy, setting it up is a pain, and then the audits can take a little bit of time. So I'm interested. I want to know what everyone thinks. We are not done yet, so don't go away. This doesn't mean we're done. Obviously, a lot of people want to know if it's too much. It's too much of a pain. So, of course, just like Brian asked, we can do it for you. So shoot me an email. Yeah. Of course, we're not going to do one of these workshop happy hour things without this. I saw someone leave. Don't leave yet. I'm giving stuff away, and I haven't done it yet.
We're going to give you free stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to give you free stuff. For free. Man, why'd you just leave us?
In this day and age, in this political climate, come on.
So shoot me an email, andrew@sellerschoice.digital. Or if you want, you email Rich too. Guess what his email is?
Rich@sellerschoice.digital.
So, crazy, right? No one's ever going to find us. So shoot us an email. Of course, we'd be more than happy to talk to you, see if we can set it up for you. And then, of course, we said we'd give some free stuff away. So
now we got to give it away.
This thing's in my way. I can't see anything. So that is the ebook that we had. So that is the Amazon listing optimization. It is everything that we do from A to Z in terms of Amazon reference. I've said that so many times and never like, A to Z.
Wait, what?
So get
wow,
it? 'Cause that's
A
their
to Z.
thing. Yeah. So Amazon listings, we talk about the conversion side of it because everyone wants to know, like, how do I do my keywords? How do I find this? Like, yes, the keyword side is very important, but everyone ignores the conversion side. If you look at it from a consumer's perspective, they don't care about your keywords. Yes, they do. Amazon does because that's how you're going to show up, but they want to look at pictures and they want to see, like, what's this thing got? And if it's not pretty, they're not buying. So few things we're going to do, right? We are going to give away one free Amazon PPC audit. This guy right here is going to do it for you. It is completely in-depth. It's going to give you 6 or 7 different pages of breakdown and what we think you should structure your page and how it's been going and how we think it should go and all the edits you should make and a ton of different stuff. So how do you submit for that? Well, we're also going to give away as many 30-minute marketing audits as you want. Of course, we can talk about Amazon PPC, we can talk about your listings, we can talk about Shopify or Google Ads, we do it all. So we'll talk about whatever you want. So go to sellerschoice.digital/webinar-contest. I know it's a little on the long side, I just realized that now. There's a password, it's happy hour, so I know you guys came from here. So submit there, I'm gonna pick one person out of there to get the free audit. And then I'll also send everyone some information so we can set up a time to talk. I promise you, I will not try to sell you anything. I really just do stuff like this. I get fun and I talk. But of course, not everyone is going to win the Amazon PPC audit. So last time I did this, I want everyone to bear with me because we ended up having a wait list and it got into this whole thing. So I'm going to set expectations this time. We are going to give away the Amazon PPC audit again. Last time we did this, usually we charge around $750 for this. I got approval to dock it down because it takes a while. These are some screenshots of all of this stuff that we'll send over. It's basically a glorified large Excel workbook where you can go through and filter and see what's working and see what's not. We'll tell you things that are within your target, things that aren't, keywords you're using, keywords you should use, structure you have, structure you shouldn't have, and all that stuff. It gets really deep. All you have to do is shoot me an email either today or tomorrow. The reason I'm going to extend it in tomorrow is because I hope all of you are drinking with me and you probably have no time to do it right now, but we are going to give a bunch of these away. Now, again, they usually take a day or two to make, but last time we did this, I had a line and it got into this whole thing. So it'll be a day or two from when we're able to start it. So give me some time, but usually I can get probably about 10 or 15 done a week, give or take. So it depends on how long this line gets this time. But shoot me an email, we'll set it up, we'll make sure it gets done. First come, first serve. So first person to email me, we'll start you first, or Rich, you can email either of us. But that's all we had. So this is where I use the opportunity to take questions because we always have a ton of questions. I want to make sure, am I still sharing? Whoops. All right, so questions. All right, so we got a little bit of time. I got still about 4 or 5 minutes. We'll hang out. So if you have some questions, start sending me questions, anything for PPC. Let's go. So sponsored products, sponsored brands, product targeting. We still got a little bit of time. Or if you want to know how delicious this is, it's so good. I'm usually not a rye guy, but I like it. A rye guy. Rye guy. Questions, comments, concerns. Let me know if you even liked the webinar.
I think I'm a rye guy now.
I feel like I'm a rye guy now. Yeah, maybe did you like the webinar?
Call me rye. Yeah, let's get some feedback on this webinar.
Yeah, how was it?
I'm not a camera guy.
Should we not drink next time?
I just got a front-facing camera.
Jason loved the webinar.
Hey, thank you, Jason.
Michelle, what's the drink? Finally, a real question.
Right.
So this is Rebellious Rye. Twisted. Well, yeah. But it's Twisted Manzanita Spirits. But it's Rebellious Rye. It is delicious. It's pretty good.
Manzanita.
It's
the one and only.
What is the name of the rye? There you go. I just did that one already. Do you have any thoughts on structuring the dynamic bidding setting strategy? I knew I forgot something. We forgot to touch on the dynamic bidding. So you have oh no, I put this in here somewhere. I know I did. Could have sworn we touched on this. Hold on, I got you.
Like briefly, super briefly. They were talking about the auto campaigns, how dynamic.
Yeah. Did I move it? Get out of my way. No, there it is. Bid adjustments, close match, complements, loose match, and substitutes. So those are the 4 things that you have the options to use in terms of the automatic. That might be what you're talking about. If not, you're talking about the sponsored product, which it replaced Bid Plus. where you can actually do the up and down.
100%, like their word boosted by 100% or lower by
So that is a threshold that you can set based on your data. So that's going to be really dependent on each company, each product, each category. But basically what I would say is if you set this up the way that we set this up, right? So you have a success campaign. Feel free to let them bid as much as they want to make sure that you win. That's how you'll keep your competitors far, far behind you. But if you have your research campaign, maybe you want to lower that threshold. And then for your auto campaign, maybe you want to lower it even more and you want to have more control. That's completely up to you. But it's going to be dependent on, you want to see like what each campaign is at and just adjust accordingly. Then for bid adjustments, for automatic, close match, complements, loose match, substitutes. Close match is basically kind of like an exact match. It's close. Complements is like instead of t-shirts, it's pants. Loose match is like it's sweaters, like it's kind of a shirt. And then substitutes is basically similar to complements, it's the opposite. So you can adjust bidding accordingly. That's kind of the same thing. If you pull that bulk report, you can actually see like where stuff is at, and you can adjust that way as well.
They also have a suggested bid also on Amazon that tends to work sometimes, but you got to remember Amazon has an incentive for you to spend more money. So everything with a grain of salt.
I'm not a fan of the suggested bid. I find that they tend to be
just give me more money.
Yeah, really. How do you determine the overall PPC budget for a particular account/client? That's my favorite question. So let's do two different things here. So let's say you have a brand new account, you have never started before. It's going to be a little bit dependent on the size of the catalog, because if you have 3,000 products and you want a $10 a day budget, we're not the people for you. But you want, in the beginning, to be honest, when a company like us gives you a budget, they are kind of pulling it out of their ass. I hate to say it, but in reality, you should be the one to answer that question. The only reason is you need to pick what you're most comfortable with for the first month. But if you do this correctly, after 2-3 weeks, or worst case that month, you can now see, okay, I should probably be spending this, I should probably be spending that. So that's if you're at a brand new launch. If you're not, and you've been around for a while, I like to say, what are you comfortable with spending, but let's allocate on things that are doing really well. The stuff that we're having trouble with that's maybe not within your target, then we're going to reduce costs there.
Yes. And also, with our strategy, without giving away too much of the secret sauce, because, I got to pay bills. We start out per campaign. If we're setting up 4 campaigns, it's going to be $10 per campaign. That first night that you set up your campaigns, you're not going to hit your budget because, as we said before, we're very conservative with how we scale up. We don't want you spending money unnecessarily, right? Most keywords hit traction around either 0.75 or 1.2 as far as a bid goes. So, again, even if we say $40 per campaign, so per product type, you're going to hit $20 for the first week, maybe. And in that $20, you're going to see maximum return. You're going to see the path of easiest resistance, or least resistance, rather. The things that people naturally will buy for you based on your matching keywords. So, again, this is, as far as budget goes, if it's your money, in my opinion, you should be always adjusting based on what your margins are and have a constant contact. But for us, as far as it goes, first week to a month is going to be $40, if that.
It's also going to be a little bit dependent on your category too, because if I have a product that's iPhone case, my average bid is going to be, it might be up there actually. That's probably a bad example. Maybe if I have something that's a little bit less expensive, my average bid's like 50 cents for all competitors. But then I have something more expensive where my average bid's like $3 or $4. So your budget's going to vary a little bit on that.
It's going to fluctuate based on what you're selling too. If I'm making $1,000 off of one sale, I'm not going to mind spending $10 getting it.
Gene liked our webinar. Thanks, Gene.
Thank you, Gene.
Do you have any tips on organizing PPC campaigns? We have about 20 to 30 ASINs. Yes, I do.
All of the tips.
I'm going to send out these slides. Go
Jason?
look at, that was Jason. Go look at,
all of the tips, Jason.
Where to go? That slide. So structuring campaigns and portfolios, ad groups, all that fun stuff. Look at that one. I'm going to send out the slides a little bit later. Got to leave that up so that everyone can email me. Okay. Any other questions? I use vendor, and dynamic bidding up and down is available for all sponsored products. Isn't that the same in seller? Yes, it is.
Yes.
I hope that helped. 5 different categories. So you have 5 different oh, that's a continuation of Jason. Still, go look at that slide. It'll help. Yes, sponsored products. Kristen, woo, sponsored products.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there was relevance to that, but we're going with it. Yes, the one that replaced Bid Plus. Yep. Please put the email back up to enter the giveaway. So, the URL for that, saleschoice.digital /webinar-contest, and the password is happy hour. I will also send out an email as a reminder. What's on there? Yeah, as a reminder. And then also I'll send out the slides too, so you guys will have that then also. Bitly couldn't find a link. I hate Bitly. Most bit links are 4 to 6 characters, only include letters and numbers. Bitly, you bum.
Come on, Bit.
What? Oh, you're trying to do the listing ebook. I'll shoot you an email. I'll get it to you. I got you, Joe.
Shout out.
Oh, it's Joe.
Hey, Joe. What's up, Joe?
How you doing?
Shout out, Joe. My guy.
My current campaigns are a mess. Should I stop them and restart, or go in and try to tweak them?
It's case by case, right?
Yeah. Sometimes you can rescue them. Sometimes you can't.
There could be this problem. It could be that problem. Sometimes, without looking at it, I can't give you a definitive answer. But if anything, I could say across the board, if you have any auto campaign set up and you heard what we said before, pause everything except the auto campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
Let those run at a reasonable rate. Go out and take some of those search terms from the auto campaign so you can get a strategy to attack manual keyword targeting. But across the board, that's what you can do, because that's what I would do. See what the people are searching for in order to get what you're selling, create the bridge through a keyword, and optimize from there.
Love it. Go back one slide. Which slide?
Which slide?
That one?
Pam? Oh yeah,
I got you.
We got to
Pam.
do it for Pam.
Oh, she wants the Pam strategy. Pam from English. Right? If I started an automated campaign with no reviews, maybe I should be getting clicks with no sales. Is that going to be a problem with Amazon indexing those keywords? Maybe I should be getting clicks.
So
a brand new product launches. Ugh, I hate product launches. So product launches are super, super easy if you have an existing community off Amazon. If you don't, and you are strictly just an Amazon seller, it's a pain now. It's nowhere near as easy as it was 5 years ago. And if you don't have any reviews, it's even harder. It's a giant uphill battle until you can really start going, kind of like Thomas the train, the tank engine.
I think I can.
And then eventually you get there, but it's an uphill battle for a while.
Bills to pay. The money right, and then it's just downhill from there, but uphill.
But like a good downhill.
An easy downhill.
Yeah. Like you're not stumbling downhill.
Yes.
So
walking.
If you don't have your reviews and you set up the auto campaigns, I mean, it's really the only way you can do it. If you're looking to improve a conversion, you're trying to entice someone, coupons are great for some reason. Even if you only do like $1, that little orange thing really helps with conversion. I don't know why. I guess consumers are like, oh, it's orange and shiny, and then they buy it. But basically, like that's one of the ways I've found, depending on how new your products are or how new your company is, you probably can't do lightning deals. You have the ability to do coupons, so you can do off Amazon stuff. Review generation is another day for another webinar. It's going to exhaust me. But I would say maybe I should be getting clicks with no sales. Is that going to be a problem with Amazon index? It won't be a problem with Amazon indexing those keywords now.
No.
Not if your listing is optimized. Kim, okay, thanks.
In any case, you could see what the masses are searching for to get you. So auto campaigns are never a bad thing unless you have too high of a bid and you're bidding on something ridiculous.
One of my favorite questions we just got from Frank, not our Frank, different Frank. Is there a standard click-through rate target for a successful campaign? So fun fact, there is not a standard for anything, technically. Yes, I could give you a number, but it's wrong. And the reason it's wrong is because a click-through rate for a phone case versus a click-through rate for a water filter are wildly different. So what you want to do is find the best click-through rate you've ever gotten and target a little bit higher and just keep doing that. That's the best way.
That's the only way you can go. Shoot for the moon. You land with the stars, right? Come on, like you gotta just.
The other thing you can do too that we've found is it's not a. Last time I said this, everyone yelled at me for it. I still stand by it. If you look at your conversion rate, which you can get by looking at total orders divided by total clicks, right? And then you look at your click-through rate, you can actually tell. Your conversion rate on your listing, not from PPC. So you're looking at your listings, total sessions divided by total orders, and then your click-through rate on PPC. If you have a low conversion rate but a high click-through rate, that means you are targeting the correct audience, you're getting the right people, but your listing sucks. So you're driving the right people, they're clicking. Like no one's just clicking for fun. So they're clicking, they're getting on your listing, and they're going, no, never mind, and they're leaving. It's not always the case. Last time I got yelled at for saying that, but that is my favorite way to tell if it's a listing problem. And then the reverse. So if you have a really great conversion rate and a low click-through rate, you're driving the wrong audience, or you're trying to drive the wrong audience, but whoever is actually converting really likes your stuff. So that means it's probably more of a PPC problem. Any tips for structuring if I have hundreds of products? We've structured for thousands of products. So my
40,000 products.
We did. No, he's not
40,000. What campus?
No. He's got 4,000.
He's got 4,000.
Still.
But look.
Still a lot.
4,000 across 4 different types of product types.
That is true. Well, the sponsored brands, you're doing one for each category, but you are doing 3 campaigns for sponsored products. Because you have the auto, the research, and then the success. So 4 times 3, and then if you also include the product targeting, so you could say 4 times 4. All right, yeah, never mind. You're right.
I was up late that night. I missed that happy hour. Is why I'm going so crazy right now.
So just same structure. I would still do it. Honestly, I do it for one product. I do it for thousands. It's going to be bigger. It's category. It's like one portfolio, but like this guy's got 50 or 60 portfolios we work with. Like it's going to be dependent on your product line. If you want to tell me what your product line is, I can tell you how I'd probably do it. Joe, it worked. The bit.ly URL you entered needs to be exact. Oh, good. It still worked. Yay. If not, I'll still send it out. In the morning until 8, I have burned $20 in no sales. Is it better to pause and resume during dead hours or minimize bids to keep it running? Great question. Fun fact. In the morning until 8, that means that you've only waited 8 hours for a click attribution of 7 days to see if you actually got any sales. So what you want to do is look at your cost and then go look at total sales. That will tell you because you have a 24 to 48 hour delay in the data. So your data may be inaccurate for a couple days. So go look at your total sales because that's always accurate. So go to your business reports, check that out. That will tell you if it's accurate or not. But otherwise, just patience is a virtue when it comes to Amazon PPC. So many people I'm an Amazon seller. I want to look at this. I want to look at this. I want to look at this. But in reality, take a step back. Everyone needs to relax. Same thing with the A9 algorithm. Everyone's like, oh, Amazon wants keywords and this many reviews and this slow. And this. No, they don't.
Don't throw your whole budget at the wall immediately. Take it slow.
Yeah.
Build slowly. Progressive overload.
Slow. Specifics. Oh, Joe. My buddy Joe. Clicks, 161. Click-through rate, 0.05. That's not good. Conversion rate, 5.5. Also not good. So I've had sellers who had I think the highest I've seen is a 42% conversion rate, and the lowest, I've seen below 5.59. But there was like a product that you don't shop around for, you just buy it. So I don't want to say there's an average, but I would say for Amazon, 5.59 is a little on the low side. So whoever you're targeting is definitely the wrong audience because your click-through rate is really low. Click-through rate, we have like an aggregate of everyone that kind of gives me like a general idea, but I want to say it's like, is it 3%? 2%?
Yeah, like 2 point something.
2 or 3%, something like that?
2%, yeah.
I hope that helps a little bit. Over 7 days, 161 clicks over 7 days. Yeah, that sounds like the wrong audience to me.
7 days once a year.
Yeah. But Joe, I know what you're selling. You should probably be doing product targeting because your product's pretty differentiated, which means not a lot of people are searching for it because they don't even know it exists. So you're probably reaching for an audience that doesn't even know what your product is. Yeah, would be my guess. So try product targeting. Many product lines. Oh, we're back to Josh. What did Josh ask earlier? Any tips? Okay, structuring. Many product lines from sports and outdoors to crafting to apparel. Just good to know it wouldn't be excessive to have a couple hundred portfolios. No, have a couple hundred portfolios. You could do like a portfolio. The portfolios don't do anything. They're just organizational.
They're for you.
Yeah, they're for you.
Really for you. It's
exactly.
not going to drive. It drives sales in that it lets you see where you're losing and you can plug up those holes as fast as possible.
Yeah.
You can literally, in one click, like, because think about it without portfolios. You're going to go to your campaign, your ad group, and then your keyword, but it may be all the way down the page here, 4 pages to the left, because you know how Amazon likes to do it by 10, and then you got to put it in a portfolio. One click, you'll be able to see where you're bleeding. You can plug up that wound as fast as possible. Yeah. Portfolios are for you, it's for organization. They will ultimately make you more productive and drive your sales.
There's also no limit on campaigns. I know we showed this slide earlier. If you guys can't tell, we love doing this stuff, which is why we're sitting at like an hour 15 doing this. But yeah, go ahead. Happy hours. Rich is breaking the seal. All right, so this is the portfolio. This is our example, right? So it doesn't mean, so in this case, I have 4 campaigns set up, but it doesn't mean that you should only have 4 campaigns. In fact, the seller we were just using an example who's got thousands of products, he actually has some sports stuff, and we have basically, they do collegiate apparel. So I'll have like Harvard in here, and then I'll have like Harvard hats will be a campaign, which means I then have Harvard sweatshirts and Harvard t-shirts. So I could have a ton of campaigns. The portfolio is really just for my benefit. So you could have a sports and outdoors portfolio, or you could have a category specific portfolio. It's completely up to you on how you want to do that. Going back to the original slide. Let's see, what else we got? Do you A/B test copy? No. So you can't really. Hope that answers your question. You really can't A/B test copy. I know people like to think that you can, but if you run a headline ad or a sponsored brand ad, I still like calling them headline ad, with one copy and then you run another one with the same copy, that's not an A/B test because it's not triggering based on one keyword. You're basically using the same keyword in 2 different campaigns, so you're almost basically cannibalizing each other. The only thing you could do to technically A/B test is take a headline ad or a sponsored brand ad, pick the copy, let it run for a month that's off season or on season, whichever one you prefer, then switch the copy and let it run for a month, either off season or on season. You have to pick one and stick to it so you get similar data, and then you can adjust from there. To be honest, to me, I really truly believe you can get too granular with certain things and you're just going to drive yourself crazy when there's a ton of other things that you could be working on. I would say that A/B testing copy is really not that important. I would rather focus more on strategy or focus more on the brand, in which case your copy could be made up from whatever brand you're using. Joe, cool, thanks. You're welcome. Oh, this is a long one. In ARA Premium, I see sales by hour per ASIN, and I still have no sales up till 8 a.m. Should I pause or cut the, side note, that's what happens when you drink while you do these. Someone asked me earlier if we use any software. I don't. We use merchant words for keyword research, but that's it. In ARA Premium, I see sales by hour per ASIN, and I still have no sales up until 8 a.m. Should I pause or cut the loss during unprofitable hours? Do I hurt velocity? It would certainly help my click-through rate and CVR, your conversion rate. What is your experience? So the other thing to keep in mind, one of the things we always try to look at, so this one's always interesting. If you have something with a longer sales cycle, so in this case, you're not taking into account the fact that there is a 7-day attribution. Someone could have clicked it, added it to the cart, and it could be sitting in their cart. But if you've only spent $20, that's just not enough data for me to make a judgment. But what I would say is, what we'll always look at is you want to look at your PPC sales versus your organic sales. Because what might happen over time is you'll start to increase PPC bids, but you'll see that number maintaining, which actually means that the PPC, because your conversion rate is improving and still doing well, is actually helping your organic sales. So you want to look at everything as a whole because there's such a strong correlation between PPC and organic and Amazon that you don't want to not think about that. So if you think it's going to help your click-through rate and your conversion rate, it's really not. It might help your click-through rate for PPC, but it's not going to help your conversion rate because your conversion rate on your page, although it's going to improve because you're not driving as bad of an audience, you now have significantly less of a sell-through, and Amazon wants to know that not only are you providing a good experience, but your product is selling through. So I would say that you don't have enough data, and although you can see sales by the hour, that's sales by the hour that Amazon has registered. It could be sitting in someone's wish list, and as far as I'm still aware, even premium, for PPC specifically, you probably still have a 24 to 48 hour delay unless you're talking about your business reports, in which case if you're at $20 spend, you still don't have any sales, I would take a look at what keywords you're targeting. Okay, just clarifying with your audit offer, it's a discount, i.e. $500 when normally $750. Yes, normally the audit is $750 for everyone who attended, and I might let some people who watch it today and tomorrow, I might give them some love if I can get up the video fast enough. But yes, it's normally $750, but we've reduced it to $500 for just this workshop / drinking session. Have you found that ASIN targeting is more expensive overall? I feel like that's per product.
Okay, so again, it will be more expensive overall and will bleed you if you are advertising against someone who has a leg up on you. If their reviews are higher than yours, if they are a more established brand than yours, you have to remember you want to sell against someone who is not up to par with you, because odds are they have some kind of volume of clicks and some kind of audience that is looking at their brand. You're essentially standing next to them while offering something greater than them so that they naturally gravitate towards you.
Yeah. It's everyone's logic to go after the bigger guys because you know who your competitors are, you know who you strive to be, but no one ever thinks about who's the little guy that I can just knock out of here really quick. Because if someone's got, let's say, 10% of the market and you have 2% of the market and you're worried about fighting that guy, you're going to spend so much money when in reality you could fight all the other people that have the other 90% and then get to 10% your own way. So go after the little guys, go after the weak ones, bully them.
Bully them.
This is when bullying's okay.
Take their lunch money and then buy lunch with them.
For all the kids that watch this on YouTube later, don't yell at me. Don't relax.
If you can, then do it. No, I'm joking.
Bye, Joe. Joe's leaving.
Good having you. See you, Joe.
Okay, got it. Just asking because my auto campaigns have a way better ACoS than my manual, and it's lots of ASINs. Yes, that is common. So your auto campaigns are doing better than your manual campaigns. One, your auto campaigns will also show on specific ASINs. So that could be helping. But two, you most likely picked keywords and put them into manual as opposed to taking them out of the auto. Because if you took them out of the auto, put them into manual, and then negated them in auto, your auto campaign would have nothing else for those specific keywords to go after. So that's not going to be the case. So my suggestion would be to negate them in auto, and then your manual will do better. Hope that helped, Kim. Is that all our questions?
Is that it?
How long? What time is it? Oh, this was almost an hour and a half. Yeah, wow. I think that's good. So again, Kim, yes, you're right. That's what I've done. Thanks so much. No problem, Kim.
Kim.
Big thanks to Kim. Good seeing Joe. Thanks, Pam, for letting me rename my funnel after you.
Thank you,
Pam. So again, one last round of free stuff. So free audit, right? Someone's going to get that, and that thing's awesome. Took us a long time to figure out how to build that damn thing. 30-minute audit. Anyone who wants it, I'll do it. I don't care. We're just going to hop on a call and chit-chat. You have your logo or your URL and password there. Ebook, I suggest reading that. Maybe you're sitting on a plane going somewhere, go ahead. But of course, not everyone's going to get the audit. So if you email me or Rich, we will have the PPC audit heavily discounted from what we usually do it for. And first come, first serve. So we'll put you on a list and we'll get it going from there. But that was super fun. I had a good time doing this. This is a good time. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining the happy hour for Amazon PPC. Everyone enjoy your Thursday. Enjoy your weekend. If you have any questions, shoot us an email, and we will talk to you later.
God bless.
Have a good week, and good luck in Q2.
Woo, woo.
Woo!